Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. This is an update for the All Hazards Consortium, sensitive information sharing environment, where we share information across platforms so we can be on the same page at the same time with state emergency operations centers, their private sector liaisons, and the private sector owner and operators that they serve, so information can be shared quickly, efficiently, and most important, accurately, so we can move trucks and goods and services across state boundaries. Well, we're talking about a number of tropical systems in the Atlantic Basin right now. The first one I'm going to start off with on this Wednesday, September 24th, is Hurricane Gabrielle. Gabrielle is now a Category 2 hurricane headed to the Azores. There is a hurricane warning in effect for the Azores right now. I'll take this full screen. Let's move this over just a little bit more here so you can see what's going on. And here is Gabrielle. Gabrielle is right here to the northern part of your view. And here are the Azores right in here. So there is a hurricane warning in effect there. And this is fairly rare for this area. Not too many times have the Azores had a hurricane watch issued and then a hurricane warning issued. As a matter of fact, the last 25 years this is the second time that a watch has been issued and then a warning. Sometimes they had gotten a warning issued with no watch in the past. But Gabrielle is a Category 2 hurricane, and look at the beeline that it's making. And then I'll show you on GeoCollaborate, it's going to take a dive south and impact Portugal, perhaps. Let's take these storms one at a time. Okay, so I'll move. Let's give Gabrielle stats right here. I'll move Gabrielle over here. As of 5 p.m., the National Hurricane Center, Gabrielle is racing eastward across the subtropical Atlantic, 36.0 north, 45.2 west. That is 1,010 miles west of the Azores. And look at this, moving east at 28 miles per hour. That's on a collision course with the Azores. Maximum sustained winds right now, 100 miles per hour. That makes it a Category 2 hurricane. Minimum central pressure, 970 millibars. And the next advisory will be at 11 o'clock. Let's take a look at the official National Hurricane Center's forecast for intensity. And you can see right here on the left side, this is the initial strength right here, Category 2. And then you can see the forecast over the time periods gradually decreasing in intensity. But this is the area where we should be impacting the Azores right in here as a 85 to 80 mile per hour hurricane, maybe into Saturday morning, Category 1 hurricane, and then going down to tropical storm status. And then by 96 hours, that's 5 p.m. Sunday, we're talking about a tropical depression. Now, let me show you GeoCollaborate and what it looks like full screen, because we're talking about Gabrielle right here. Look at the wind radii. It's fairly compact now, but this is the path that it's expected to take. And these are the Azores right here. So right down the middle of the Azores, Gabrielle is expected to roll its bowling ball. And then look at this. It's going to take a dive south, impacting southwestern Portugal and southern Spain, maybe even northern Africa, as a tropical depression with some rain showers. So Casablanca, yes, you may get some clouds and rain showers out of Gabrielle. It's amazing what these systems do during the hurricane season, and they make a circumference around the entire Atlantic, just about, northern Atlantic at least. Okay, let's go over back to the satellite picture, because I want to talk about our next system. And our next system is right down here. This is it. It doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but there is a low-level circulation going on here. And this is some pretty good convection, thunderstorm activity that is forming. This is Tropical Storm Humberto. Let's take a look. As of 5 o'clock p.m., Tropical Storm Humberto forms. This is advisory number 1, 5 o'clock, issued about 1 hour and 3 minutes ago from the National Hurricane Center. Humberto is located about 550 miles east-northeast of the northern Leeward Islands here. East-northeast of the northern Leeward Islands. That's right in here. And maximum sustained winds 40 miles per hour here in this area. These are estimated from satellite. Minimum central pressure 1,008 millibars. It's moving to the west-northwest at 15 miles per hour. So the Lesser Antilles, you don't have to worry about Humberto right now. Northern Antilles, you do not have to worry about Humberto, but you may have to worry about 94L. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. Let's get to the forecast track for Humberto. This is as of 5 o'clock, the National Hurricane Center issuing this forecast. Right now, 40 mile per hour winds, but you can see how it increases to tropical storm 60 mile per hour winds in the official forecast by Friday at 5 a.m. And then by Friday at 5 p.m., we're on the verge of becoming a hurricane into Saturday morning. And then it does increase its intensity to Category 1 by 5 p.m. Saturday and Category 2 by 5 p.m. Sunday. So we'll be watching this very carefully because there is a really interesting interaction perhaps between Humberto and 94L that's going on here just south of Puerto Rico. Here is the track that Humberto took before it was named, and here is now the forecast for the path of the, this is the probability of tropical storm force winds. Good thing right now, no impact is anticipated over the next 5 days in the Atlantic here, and I'm going to click on this last forecast period. Humberto is forecast to be on the 29th of September, and that is on this graph right here. That is on the verge of a Category 3 hurricane by Monday at 5 p.m. Okay, so that's Monday at 5 p.m., the September 29th. So we're going to be watching this and monitoring it very closely because it may have an interaction with this system right down here, which we are terming 94L. And that may develop into another tropical system here over the next several days in this area of the Atlantic. You can see I have it kind of grayed out a little bit, but in this area, we're going to be watching it very closely. Now, the first thing that I want to do here, because you see all this stuff going on, I want to explain what that is. It's a hurricane recon flight planned for Friday. But first, I want to dive down here into Puerto Rico because you can see we have a lot of rain activity going on around the island. And this is the beginnings of what could be a circulation forming in this area here. Now, by Friday, it's expected that this circulation will move north of Hispaniola. That is why we have this recon flight planned. I'll dive into this here in just a moment. But let's go to local radar. I want to go over to the local radar in Puerto Rico and put that into motion here. You can see what it looks like. Look at these showers and storms. It almost looks like there's kind of some sort of maybe circulation going on in here. It's not well defined. This has not been identified as any sort of circulation at this moment. However, we are looking at potential for development in the area just down here north of Hispaniola. So this is kind of a trajectory right here that we're looking at this system to take. And I'm back to GeoCollaborate here. So here's kind of a trajectory right here that we're looking at from this area of potential circulation up here north of Hispaniola. That is the time where hurricane hunters are expected to intercept and interact with this system. Okay, so over here is Tropical Storm Humberto's forecast, tropical storm winds. But now I want to focus on what's being planned for Friday. This is Lakeland, Florida. N42, and the N42 is Kermit. That's the P3 aircraft that's going to be flying down and investigating this area. This is called a lawnmower pattern, where it's going to be sampling the atmosphere in this pattern here, looking for any sort of circulation. That is when we're likely to see a tropical depression or a tropical storm forming during the day Friday. So we have all day tomorrow to watch what's going on here. But it looks like this open wave, this tropical wave, may get its act together in this area of the Atlantic. So that puts the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos on at least alert a little bit to watch what's going on here, because the forecast models are predicting potential development of a low pressure system, tropical depression, and then perhaps a tropical storm moving up in this direction. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, and I'm going to go back to the satellite picture here so we can explain. I can explain what the interactivity may be. Here is the high-resolution GOES image. I made the land pink just so it would be easy for you to see. Here's that shower and thunderstorm activity. Look at this. It's almost like an outer band here forming on this tropical wave, but there's no real circulation yet that is detectable. The radar data showing what might be something southwest of Puerto Rico, but we're going to be watching in this area right here. So we have Tropical Storm Humberto that's going to be moving in this direction here over the next several days. And then we have this system, 94L, that may move in this direction over the next several days. Now, typically, we don't have two tropical systems so close to each other, and usually one of them wins out. But the models are suggesting some very interesting dynamics and interaction between these two, and we'll have to monitor this as it goes a little bit forward. The reason I'm hesitating to show you any sort of model output with this particular interaction is because we do not have a center of circulation for 94L right now. Once we have a center of circulation, we will be able to pinpoint more accurately the not only the circulation, but where the center is and where it is in relation to the other weather patterns around the country. So what this looks like around the rest of the continental United States is we have a big trough of low pressure here that's digging down, and this could play an influence in what's going to be moving towards the U.S. or what's going to be staying away from it. And also of interest, the National Weather Service has asked for numerous upper air balloon locations to release additional balloons. That is so we can get a better handle, and the models can get a better handle on what's going on in the jet stream and the upper air wind patterns that may influence the interaction of these systems. Now, look at this. I'll zoom out just a little bit more here. Look at this. We have Gabrielle that's racing towards the Azores, hurricane warning. Newly formed tropical storm Humberto, which is forecast to move in this direction and then recurve. And then we have 94L, which could be the next named system. And that next named system would be Imelda. That's what this one would become if it does form over the next several days. Any storm that gets the next name is going to be Imelda. It's very interesting. If you go back in the history books, when we talk about named storms, the I storm is the one with the highest number of name retirements. We've had a lot of I's that have been very impactful. Ike, Isabel, many others that have impacted the United States. But we're going to be watching this because conditions are favorable for a system to develop north of Hispaniola. We already have Humberto that is developed, although it doesn't look that great on satellite imagery right now. It is getting its act together. And Gabrielle, that's exiting stage right, but it's not done with land masses yet. Also, on the west coast, we have NARDA. And NARDA is moving to the west. And I know some of our friends in Hawaii have been concerned about what's going on with NARDA. I want to change the sector here to the Goes West satellite. And I have Hawaii in the picture right here. Beautiful weather in Hawaii. Maybe some large swells in the northern facing beaches. A little bit breezy at times. But look at this. Here's the jet stream to your east. That's taking clouds up towards the northeast. But here is NARDA. And I want to give you the statistics for this particular storm as of late this afternoon. And I'll move the satellite picture over here so you can see the circulation. So NARDA is a little weaker, but forecast to re-strengthen on Friday. It's located at 15.1 north, 112.3 west, 560 miles south-southwest of the southern tip of Baja California. So that's Cabo San Lucas. That's about how far away it is there. Maximum sustained winds, 100 miles per hour, which is a Category 2 hurricane. Minimum central pressure of 976 millibars and movement to the west at 10 miles per hour. Okay, here's the official Hurricane Center forecast for NARDA. This is advisory number 13. It's a 5 p.m. Eastern time. Category 2 right here. It is weakening slightly. Expected to be down to a 90 and 85 mile per hour hurricane during the afternoon tomorrow, but then increase again to Category 2 strength, getting up to about 105 mile per hour winds by 5 a.m. Saturday. Now, the good thing is there's no land out here. It will be an impactful storm for any marine traffic interaction. So we're really hoping that marine traffic avoids this system, as they should with any tropical cyclone. But then as we get past Saturday, it's going to enter into some cooler water and some unfavorable conditions where it should decrease in intensity to a tropical storm. And then by Monday at 5 p.m., down to a very minimal tropical storm of 45 miles per hour. Now let's check back to GeoCollaborate, and I'll move over here. I'll move over to the west, to the East Pacific, to the west, actually. And you'll see what's going on here with the track forecast. Here is NARDA, and we're tracking the intensity of the storm. Here's the forecast wind probabilities for tropical storm force wind. But look at this. It takes a turn and is getting influenced by more shear, takes a turn towards the north, right into colder sea surface temperatures. And that is what is typically a killer for these tropical systems. They don't like cold waters. They love warm waters. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is switch back over to the satellite loop so you can see what it looks like and where those warm waters are and where the cold waters are. So here's NARDA. It's going to increase in intensity here. And look at this. There's warmer waters right here. See that red through the clouds? That's warmer. But then it's going to take a curve right in here. And boy, it does not like that green. That green is cold water as far as a tropical cyclone is concerned, and that means no more intensification. So Hawaii, aloha, you don't have to worry about NARDA impacting the islands of Hawaii here. NARDA is going to turn to your north well ahead of any impacts. Days later, you may get some swells that NARDA has generated, but that won't be for many days. Okay, so I want to turn to the forecast real quick because, boy, it's really interesting. You may hear of the term Fujiwara effect. Fujiwara effect is when two low pressure systems interact and one starts rotating around the other, or they influence each other in a certain way, is to show a sort of rotation. So I'm going to put this model, this is the GFS model, And this is showing the moisture. You can see the moisture, and then it's going to show low pressure systems when they develop, when the model develops it. And so I'm starting here at about this afternoon, 18Z. This is the start of this model run. And you can see Humberto already right in here forming, and it has quite a bit of moisture around it. Look at all this moisture that 94L is producing as well. So we have a lot of moisture between these two systems. As I put this into motion further, you'll see what happens. We're down now into Thursday night, into Friday morning. So this is where the Hurricane Hunter aircraft, the NOAA P3, will be on its way down to fly into this system. And the model by Thursday or Friday evening has a low pressure system here over the Turks and Caicos. We're going to see if we can find a circulation just north of Hispaniola during the day on Friday. That's why the first P3 is going to get out there and do its lawnmower pattern, looking for those wind speeds and pressure drops, any sort of circulation there. So by Friday night, we have two low pressure systems. This one we know already is a tropical storm, could be a hurricane by this time, which is late Friday night. And then this one just forming. So let's put this into motion and show you what happens when we get into Saturday afternoon. We have two distinct low pressure systems. One is a tropical storm or perhaps a hurricane. The other one is a low pressure system. So this could be a tropical depression. Needless to say, look at this. We now have two batches of moisture, dry air to the north and a lot of dry air. And notice these wind barbs here. Meteorologically, wind barbs show us the speed and direction of wind blowing. And this is at the mean sea level pressure, and the winds in a layer between 700 millibars and 300 millibars. So that's between about 6,000, 7,000 feet and about 15,000 feet. So that wind is really important because it steers weather systems. And these winds are diving down in here with dry air behind this trough. And look at this, the winds are coming down and curving up to really create almost like a barrier for any storm to get any closer. But watch what happens when these two systems progress. Now we're into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Now we have what is probably a tropical storm forming over the Bahamas here during the morning, early morning on Monday. And we'll keep this going a little bit longer. And look at this. The pressure lines, these pressure lines are called isobars. They start to connect here and start to connect these two systems with lines of equal pressure. So we're thinking here that one is going to influence the other. And the models are certainly saying that this one, Humberto, is going to be the dominant low pressure, but is going to swing it out to sea across the bottom part of the low pressure system. So we may have dueling systems here, and then later in the model run, it combines these two systems together. But what we may have end up are two tropical systems that become one, or at least influence each other, and all remain out to sea. That is what we're hoping. But the risk and the uncertainty beyond day 3 here is that we may have two separate tropical systems. One takes a southern track, and another one, Humberto, recurves. So we can't take that risk. We got to send those Hurricane Hunter aircraft down there to get as much data as possible to feed into the models. The National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service is asking for more balloon launches across the country. There's a company called Windborne Systems that has high altitude balloons, a lot of them, and they're going to be dropping more radiosondes from those high altitude balloons wherever possible to feed into the models. So this is going to be a really tricky forecast. I want to show you one other model too, and show you what the European model does with these two systems. Okay, so here's the same field that I'm looking at with the moisture and the surface sea level pressure. and we can see the winds, the steering currents basically. And I'm going to put this in motion. This is the European model, European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasts. And I'm showing you this just because it's really fascinating. And I want you to understand the complexity that two tropical systems working, interacting perhaps, puts on the models. So we're advancing this here. You can see Humberto there rotating around. That's Humberto right here. And we do see some sort of in the field here, some weak circulation, maybe, maybe not. Here's the moisture field right here. And we're talking about Friday afternoon. So the planes will be flying into this area just north of Hispaniola, looking for some area, some circulation. And then as we continue on, we do see a low pressure system forming once again over the Turks and Caicos Islands, southern Bahamas, and that moisture is again separated from Humberto. A lot of dry air to the north, and the steering winds are really confused up here. Look at this. We have winds diving down here really strong, winds going to the north pretty strong, winds here that are kind of light, and these that are driving towards the southeast. Okay, so we have a number of things that could happen with these systems, and this is what the European model thinks is going to happen. We have a weak low pressure system over the Bahamas, going to hang over there for a period of time, and then by Sunday afternoon, here we go. We may have a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm over the Bahamas. Humberto is strengthening, so it's a hurricane right here, and then look at this as we continue on. It might get a little bit rough on the east coast of Florida with this system moving off the northeast coast of the Bahamas. And look at all this dry air coming in and trying to get into this system here that would ultimately try to weaken it. But then look what Humberto does. It grabs it in its pressure field and swings it out to sea, and they both go playing in the central and northern Atlantic Ocean. Again, another model with no landfall, just impacts on the East Coast would be rip currents and larger swells. So that's the complexity that we have to deal with. And we're going to be watching it every day and bringing you these tropical updates and the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center. So that's it for this update on this Wednesday. I appreciate your attention. It's going to be a complex next several days. NOAA is mobilizing. They're sending the Hurricane Hunter aircraft down there starting on Friday. We do have that data going into GeoCollaborate, helping them to maintain situational awareness with their ocean winds team. They're going to be running their tail Doppler radar to look for circulations in any of the rain down there that's forming around Puerto Rico. We may see some flash flood watches or perhaps some flash flood warnings issued in Puerto Rico because of this tropical wave that's trying to organize. And that tail of the system may impact Puerto Rico for a couple of days. So expect potentially some flash flood watches and eventually maybe flash flood warnings with that hilly terrain in Puerto Rico. We're going to keep you updated each day as we watch these two systems dynamically interact over the next, let's say, 72 hours or more as they form and move. Weather is a complex thing, but that's why we're here watching it for you. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. We appreciate you watching. This has been an update for the All Hazards Consortium and the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment. We have the ticker going on up top, and we have the one down at the bottom that updates all the time here for these video updates. One final thing, please watch out for yourself and watch out for your neighbors. They really do appreciate it, and you could be saving a life. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.